starting off today with this van, YS02BKY. Apparently this lot have been operating around the Northampton area, so it's just down the road from us, stealing dogs. Keep an eye out for them, otherwise it could be your dog that goes. YS02BKV. Patent number US 7220852B1, made in USA by Mr. Paul A. Rota, R-O-T-A, Larry J. Anderson, William J. Bellini, and others, for the US Department of Health. Crazy, innit? Well, it's now clear that it created to cause fear, pandemonium, panic, to drive folks to get the vaccines the government are going to roll out for the masses. Be very mindful of the 1918-1919 Spanish influenza pandemic, whereby 50 million people died worldwide. Not from the virus, but from the national vaccine programme announced goal of vaccinating every person. 50 million people died worldwide as a direct result of the shots. It was as a result of the public outcry being so great that it was officially stopped. History has a sinister way of repeating itself. Don't be a victim. Boost your immune system and you will win this war that has been waged on the masses. Be safe out there. Oregano or oregano oil proves effective against coronavirus. Oil of oregano may prove to be a valuable ally against severe acute respiratory syndrome, SARS. A recent in vitro study indicates that the essential oil of this medical herb can destroy human coronavirus, thought to be the pathogen responsible for SARS, and completely stop its replication within 20 minutes of exposure. The study was conducted by Dr. M. Khalid Ijaz of Microbiotest, an independent microbiological testing lab in Sterling, VA. Dr. Ijaz incubated human coronavirus in MRC5 cell lines of oregano, P73, and olive oil preparation of wild oregano and with oreganoxylin, a combination of wild oregano, wild sage, wild cumin and wild cinnamon oils. Both products are made by Physicians Strength North America Herb and Spice, a company that specialises in medical essential oils from the Mediterranean. The oregano oil alone reduced viral titers from over 5 million particles per million at baseline to 167 particles per million within 15 minutes. At 20 minutes, the titers were down to 150 parts per million. The oreganoxylin combination reduced tears from over 5 million to 133 particles per million in 15 minutes. Within 20 minutes, they were reduced non-detectable levels. The investigators noted that both preparations were able to halt a viral replication within the host cells. The in vivo findings need to be confirmed in human clinical trials, but they are compelling in that they show that oil of oregano alone and its combination with other essential oils have unequivocally virucidal and virustatic effects. Both oregano P73 and oreganoxylin are available from Physicians Strength and 0800 243 5242. So no matter what they try and unleash on us, we will always find something that works to stop their attempted murder of us all. I will let Dr. Kissinger explain. Once the herd accepts mandatory forcible vaccination, it's game over. They will accept anything, forcible blood or organ donations for the greater good. We can genetically modify children and sterilise them for the greater good. Control sheep minds and you control the herd. Vaccine makers stand to make billions and many of you in this room today are investors. It's a big win-win. We thin out the herd and the herd pays us for providing extermination services. You often feel tired, not because you've done too much, but because you've done too little of what sparks a light in you. The dairy breast cancer link. Alkaline Vegan News. Dairy products, including cow's milk, may be associated with an increased risk of breast cancer, according to a new study funded by the National Cancer Institute. Those with ER breast cancer, a designation of estrogen receptor status, who drank the most fluid milk had a 58% increased risk for breast cancer. Source www.alkalinevegannews.com. It's funny how everybody considers honesty a virtue, yet nobody wants to hear, see, or accept the truth. Only one form of contagion travels faster than a virus, and that is fear. That's why they're trying to put us in fear and keep us in fear to keep control. That's all this coronavirus and all this shit's all really about. World Health Organization. Reduce your risk of coronavirus infection. Clean hands with soap and water or alcohol-based hand rub. Cover nose and mouth when coughing and sneezing with tissue or flexed elbow. Avoid close contact with anyone with cold or flu-like symptoms. Thoroughly cook meat and eggs. Avoid unprotected sex with live, wild or farm animals. I think that says all you need to know, really. Blackpool demo. We will not be silenced. Stand up to child abuse, forced adoption and grooming. Stop abuse in care. Speakers: Jeffs, ex-truth teller, Glasgow truth teller, Wolf truth teller, Bristol truth teller, Joseph and Bobby Blair, Sharon Binks, Laura Lewis, Katie Jane Swallow, Nigel Singh. Right on South Pier, Blackpool, FY41BB. If you don't stand up for your children, who do you stand up for? Katie Jane Swallow. This is an open platform for all causes fighting for the safety and future of our nation's children. Join us on 22nd of February, protesting next to the South Pier from 12 p.m. We need everyone to come in numbers and get this country's darkest issues addressed. Speeches, Saturday 22nd of February, 1 p.m. Once you carry your own water, you will learn the value of every drop. Very interesting. Wuhan is where 5G was rolled out. What is 5G? Wrecked immune systems and thereby boosted the virulency of the normal cold. One of the main points about 5G was that it would wreck immune systems and make people sick. Silicon Valley does not want it, and the kicker, people in Wuhan say 5G sucks and that 4G was better. Figure that. I remember now that Wuhan was where their tech was going to be put in the first place, but forgot all about that when this pandemic. What if all we are seeing is Wuhan's sickness from exposure to excessive 5G radiation and weakened immune system? Things that make you go, And I believe that's what it's there for. Also, I believe it's there to cover up the illnesses that you're going to get from the 5G. Makes sense to me. Just this morning, I have seen 3 suicides announced on Twitter, connecting the death with the DWP and Universal Credit. It is barbaric. One was a 64-year-old woman who took her own life after being repeatedly forced to apply for jobs she had no hope of getting. This is further murder by the state. Convicted sex offenders delivering furniture to family homes in Fife. Charity chiefs in Fife have defended the use of convicted sex offenders to deliver furniture to local families after worried members of the public raised concerns about the practice. Those involved with the Castle Furniture project say they remain fully committed to helping former offenders reintegrate back into society after it emerged that a number of the paedophiles have been working for the furniture reuse group. The project takes donations of good quality furniture, household items, toys, electrical appliances and white goods from throughout the region and sells them for its bases in Capar and Glenrothes, providing a free service to low-income and disadvantaged customers who are referred by agencies. Delivery drivers often visit homes to pick up or drop off items which have raised concern in some communities. One member of the public, who asked not wanted to be named, said he felt sick after learning that convicted sex offenders were of the books of Castle Furniture and potentially could come into contact with children. He said, "I know people deserve a second chance, but I wouldn't want someone like that coming into my house. It doesn't sit right, and I think it's something the wider public need to know about." The man added that he had discovered that one of the delivery drivers had been caught with more than 1,000 indecent images on his laptop, around a third of which were deemed to be the most severe Category A types. The paedophile was not jailed but was given unpaid work, although he was put on the sex offenders register for his crimes. Private firm to be paid €450,000 to find out why a National Children's Hospital has overrun. The government is to pay a private firm €450,000 to find out why the construction cost of the National Children's Hospital has spiralled to $1.4 billion. So they're going to pay $500,000 because the Oregano Health Committee was told today that the financial consults company PCW was commissioned to carry out the probe and report back to by March. It is the latest twist in the ongoing wrangle over the spiralling cost of the hospital, which was set at $983 million in April 2017 when the government gave the go-ahead for its construction. The full cost is expected to be $1.7 billion when the construction bill is added to the $300 million needed for arrears such as its IT system. Again, this shows you the complete and total, utter incompetence of every government. It doesn't matter which one, British government, Ireland's government, it doesn't matter. They're all totally incompetent, or by design, their mates are getting the jobs and making kickbacks from it. Because if you were organising something that was spiralling, like they say, out of control, but it was originally said that it was 983 million, what you do is you put a clause in the contract that if it's not done by this date it's said to be done, then they get fined €100,000 a day. And if it goes over the costs, we don't pay it, the firm pays it. And I bet you it would be done under budget and in time. But because the government are so corrupt, this is the sort of shit that happens. The government's attacks on Gypsies, Roma and Travellers are an attack on us all. The government's consultation aiming to criminalise the lives of some of Britain's most vulnerable and persecuted group is disgraceful and must be resisted by us all, writes Norbert Lorry. Strengthening police powers to tackle unauthorised encampments is the title of the consultation on measures that the government are now planning to introduce in the very near future. It holds very serious implications and further erodes civil liberties, as well as being a particularly nasty and disgusting attack on travelling communities and 23,726 caravans in England and Wales. Boris Johnson and Priti Patel's consultation document proposed to criminalise the lives of some of Britain's most vulnerable and persecuted groups by enabling the police to confiscate the homes of anyone who they suspect to be trespassing on land with the purpose of residing on it. Gypsies, Roma and Travellers will be left with nowhere to stop and without a home. The government has made plans which could stamp out the travelling way of life and make things that much tougher for roadside families. The government plans to make trespass when setting up and unauthorised encampments a crime. This means they could have a trailer taken and a person could be sent to prison, fined, or both. This is an attack on everyone, not just them. Don't go down that route thinking that way. It's a further, like I said, erosion of our civil liberties. Wuhan was the province where 5G was rolled out, now the centre of deadly virus. Wuhan, October 31st. The branches of the Chinese major telecom operators in central China, Hubei province, announced Thursday the launch of the commercial 5G applications in the province. Wuhan, the city of Hubei, is expected to have 10,000 5G base stations by the end of 2019, said Song Quizo, head of Hubei Province Communication Administration. China Telecom was established a 5G network covering airports, railway stations and other areas in the city, which will also help boost the digital and intelligent transformation of the industries with 5G technologies, said Lai Hongbo, general manager for the company's Hubei branch. China Mobile Hubei branch has activated 1,580 5G base stations in the city of mid-October, achieving the 5G coverage of universities, transportation hubs and other densely populated areas, according to the breach. I'm telling you, this is the kill weapon being deployed in our faces. Single mum takes DWP to High Court after Universal Credit hurled her into childcare debt. Exclusive benefits advisor Nicola Salvato could help up to 500,000 other parents if she wins her legal fight against upfront childcare payments, saying, "If I can't figure my way out of this, how is anyone else going to?" A single mum is taking DWP to the High Court over Universal Credit childcare rules that forced her into debt. Nicola Salvato, a professional benefits advisor, could help up to 500,000 parents on this 6-in-1 benefit if she wins the landmark fight. She is asking for a judicial review of rules that force UC claimants to pay up front for childcare. Parents on UC can get up to £646 per month for each child under 16 to fund 85% of their childcare costs. But they must pay up front and claim the costs back later, which leaves some facing four-figure bills. The Department of Work and Pensions, DWP, says the policy is to prevent fraud. Bullshit. But Nicola, a formal legal claim backed by Save the Children, alleges the rule is unlawful discrimination and breaches the European Convention on Human Rights. The DWP just got busted over ESA cuts. Its response is vile. The Department for Work and Pensions, DWP, has just dug itself into a massive hole. Recent revelations forced it to change official records, but its updated answer actually made it look worse, and it left more questions than answers. Not least, have people died for? The DWP, the cruelest of cuts. As the Canary wrote, the DWP has been trying itself up in knots over Employment and Support Allowance, ESA. In 2017, it cut the rate of money it gave claimants in the work-related activity group. This was by around £29 a week. The group is for people who the DWP says should be moving into work. Often those claimants live with illness and impairments. At the time, the Tories and DWP said the cut was to stop giving sick and disabled people financial incentives to not work. The then Chancellor, George Osborne, called these incentives perverse. The DWP also said the cut would save money. This was when austerity was in full flow. Its final forecast said cutting the RAG rate would claw back just over 1 billion in 4 years, but it also claimed it would plough in 330 million to support claimants into work, trampling over dead bodies. Sound perverse? It gets even worse, more sordid. The DWP cut RAG cash, knowing death rates in the group were rocketing. By 2016, after it finalised the cut, claimants in the RAG died at a rate of 7.7 per 1,000. This was over 4 times higher than the rest of the population. Charities disputed the DWP's incentives claimed, but it cut the cut through anyway. Murder by the state. Rothschild connected billionaires arrested for role in NXIVM child trafficking slave ring. Billionaire heiress Claire Bonfram was indicted and on racketeering charges in federal court on Tuesday, connected to her involvement as operations director of the NXIVM sex cult. Bonfman is the heir to the multi-billion-dollar liquor fortune of Edgar Bonfman Sr., the billionaire philanthropist who was formerly head of NXIVM. Additionally, Nancy Salzman, her daughter Lauren, and their bookkeeper Kathy Russell were also accused of racketeering conspiracy in the new superseding indictments in the case. And as alleged in the superseding indictment, for over a decade, Keith Raniere was the leader of a racketeering conspiracy in which he and members of the inner circle committed a broad range of serious crimes, from identity theft and obstruction of justice to sex trafficking, all to promote and protect Raniere and that lot again, said US Attorney for Eastern District of New York Richard Donoghue in a statement. FBI Assistant Director in Charge William Sweeney also gave a statement on Tuesday. As alleged, this long-running conspiracy crossed multiple avenues of criminal activity, which included, among other things, electronic monitoring, identity theft, extortion, victim smuggling, and illegal trafficking of a victim after a period of unlawful confinement, said Sweeney. Universal credit claimants facing eviction as arrears rocket to unsustainable levels. 3/4 of Hull Council tenants on universal credit are behind with their rent. Get them on the streets, keep them looking to put food on the table, and you'll keep them in fear and under control. A new report says rent arrears among council tenants in Hull receiving universal credit could reach wholly unsustainable levels over the next 4 years. It also warns of the risk of significantly increased eviction rates and more people abandoning properties ahead of repossessions action taken against them. Nearly 3/4 of council tenants in the city who are currently receiving the new benefit are in arrears with their rent. The average amount owed by tenants on universal credit is £469.87 compared to the overall average of £358. Eviction rates involving tenants on universal credit are also currently more than 3 times higher than the average. But council housing bosses at the Guildhall are bracing themselves for overall rent arrears to keep rising over the next few years as more people register as claimants. This is their plan. Let's see how they do it, shall we? A town with a voting population of around 6,400 did have an election where 41,000 votes were counted. In brief, claim. A town with a voting population of less than 7,000 had 41,000 votes counted in a local election. This was then overturned by the High Court. Conclusion. This is true. The vote happened in Highworth, Wiltshire in May 2019. A claim that a town with fewer than 7,000 registered voters but which counted 41,000 votes in the local election and thus had the vote overturned by the High Court has been shared thousands of times on Facebook. The screenshot of the claim shared on Facebook comes from a tweet posted in December 2019 that has also been shared thousands of times. This is how they rig the elections. The claim is true. Highworth, Wiltshire, had a voting population of 6,408 and only 2,477 ballots were issued for May 2019 election of the town council. However, 41,939 votes were counted after the polls closed, with the 10 Conservative candidates standing for election receiving over 3,000 votes each. Local independent candidate Keith Smith filed a legal charge, arguing that this occurred because of block votes that Conservatives Party being counted for each of the party's candidates, rather than split between them. Block voting is a system used in some English counties for council elections where there are multiple vacant seats. During the 2019 vote in Highworth, there were 15 seats and 19 candidates, 10 of which stood for the Conservative Party. A person voting in the election could cast a block vote, meaning all of their votes would be cast for the same party. If they use their block vote for their Conservatives, 10 votes would be allocated to the Conservatives, giving 1 vote per candidate, according to reports. 256 block votes for the Conservatives were cast, meaning that 10 Conservative candidates should have received 265 votes each. The High Court overturned the result and a recount was held, which led to Conservative candidate Pauline Webster stepping down after receiving fewer votes than another independent candidate, Kim Barber. Swindon Borough Council said, "We have carried out a thorough lesson learned, and we'll make sure we don't get caught next time," they may have added. Mirror. Bombshell claim. Victim's son. I've tracked down Lord Lucan. Murdered nanny's boy says he had found fugitive living in Australia. Express. Nicholas Parsons, a miracle of broadcasting talent, dies at 96. Prince bewildered and angry over claims he was refused to help police probe Epstein's sex scandal. Andrew, I will talk to the FBI because it makes me look like I'm guilty, but I keep refusing to speak to them. Fairy tale night for Cinderella Holly. Telegraph. Johnson promises to end reliance on Huawei. PM lets Chinese firm into 5G network but tells US he will find alternative in future. Oxbridge diversity plans will hit middle class students. Lord Hall admits failing in BBC politics journalism. Smart motorways are death traps, say MPs. Duke denies rejecting approach from FBI. And yet we saw it. He did. So this is him trying to backtrack now. Do not travel to China, Foreign Office advisors. My 43-year touring the world with the England cricket team. Metro, just a legend. Looking lush for TV gongs. Guilty pleasures. I'll meet you half Hawaii. Chinese firm will only get limited role in UK's new 5G network, or as it should be called, the 5G kill network, says PM. But US and senior Tories brand the decision a massive security risk. Killer virus alert in UK. Let's ramp up the fear. Because that way they'll do as they're told. The Times. Thousands of Britons warn against travelling to China. PM defies critics with green light for Hawaii. Johnson confronted by Defence Secretary and US. Middle-class pupils will be squeezed out of Oxbridge. UK defies US and backs high-risk 5G from China. I'll come back to that. Cruise ship control. How I became a captain for a day. Come back. Government gives green light to Hawaii delivering high-speed mobile kill network despite security concerns. PM approves Chinese tech after intelligence warning because there is no viable alternative for UK. Well, let's stop 5G rollout then. Tech director at GCHQ says the market was broken and that it was crazy that Hawaii was one of only 3 suppliers. Grenfell emails revealed cladding fires risk fears. Pressure grows on Prince Andrew. UK virus alert, mainland China travel warning. Breast cancer risk linked to weight gain. The Guardian. Trump plan for Middle East peace condemned. I say to Trump and Netanyahu, Jerusalem is not for sale. All of our rights are not for sale. PM's decision on Hawaii averts major row with the US. Coronavirus, Germany reports first human transmission in Europe. Told you they're going to spread it all over, but don't forget, oregano oil will sort it out. Let's get some oregano all and let's be secking some, shall we? The Scum. NTA Awards, star tributes to TV legend Nicholas dies, missing Parsons. Fears as PM lets Hawaii build 5G. Cops to reopen Andrew Pal case. Daily Fail. Genius of the century. 6 billion build to modify hard shoulders. 38 killed in 5 years. And now police chiefs say we've all been misled as he brands them smart M-ways death traps. Horror near miss for stranded car when hard shoulder becomes live. Smart motorways, another way of killing us. Complete and utter waste of paper. Thanks for the laughs. Corey Rita, I fear the axe. Pal says star still worries after 56 years. Joy for Jesse, the artist formerly known as artist. FT. Border control. HK scrambles to stop virus. US condemns UK decision to give Huawei limited role in 5G network. Warning over unsafe vendors. Johnson tries to calm fears. Pledge to bolster rivals. Trapped Woodford investors brace for minimum 20% loss as fund unwinds. German envoy suspected of spying for China. And finally, daughter to father. Dad, there is something my boyfriend said to me that I didn't understand. He said that I have a beautiful chassis, lovely airbags and a fantastic bumper. Father's response. Tell your boyfriend that if he opens your bonnet and tries to check your oil with his dipstick, I will tighten his nut so hard that his headlights will pop out and he will start leaking from his exhaust pipe. I named my toilet Jim instead of John. Everyone is so impressed when I tell them I go to the gym every morning. Hey Dad. Hi son. Please tell me how I was born. Well, that's a long story, son. Tell me in a short. I'll let you figure it out. When my wife left me, I have to admit I found it hard. I couldn't cope. I started smoking. I turned to drink, gambling. I even slept around. Basically, I let myself go. The whole house is in a mess. Oh well, enough chatting. She will be home from work soon. How it feels like working at a bank. Question. My child doesn't want to eat meat. With what can I replace it? Answer. A dog. Dogs love meat. Girlfriend pours bottles of Corona away to stop coronavirus. When you see a Chinese dude sneezing at the airport.